police officer just assassinated one of America's most powerful politicians in her own home.
And the man accused of shooting 2 state lawmakers and their spouses was in court for the first time today on charges of murder.
The suspect accused of shooting and killing a Minnesota lawmaker and her husband and severely wounding another lawmaker and his wife.
He went to their homes, held himself out as a police officer, and shot them in cold blood.
The killer had a hit list of 70 more targets and used a terrifying disguise that fooled everyone. It's not a movie. This happened in June 2025.
He said the suspect pretended to be a cop and banged on the door, shining a flashlight on them.
When Senator Hoffman attempted to push Bolter out and stop him from entering his home, Bolter shot him repeatedly.
And what I'm about to tell you will shock you to your core. Stay with me because the details of this case are absolutely insane.
Melissa Hortman is one of the most adored legislators.
And there's a twist at the end that changes everything.
There were 2 lights that guided their life: service and community.
First, let me tell you about the victims, because their stories make this even more heartbreaking. Melissa Hortman wasn't just any politician. She was the Speaker of the Minnesota House, one of the most powerful Democrats in the state. At 55, she had dedicated her entire life to public service. Born and raised in Minnesota's working-class suburbs, Melissa worked at her dad's auto parts store, taught Sunday school, and was a Girl Scout leader. She went to law school, worked for Senators Al Gore and John Kerry, then came back home to serve her community. She fought for free school lunches for kids, women's reproductive rights, and clean energy. Colleagues described her as someone who woke up every day determined to make the state a better place. Her husband, Mark, 58, died alongside her. They had 2 children who are now orphans. The other victims, Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, barely survived. John, age 60, has spent over a decade fighting for disability services and children's rights. His wife, Yvette, literally threw herself on top of their daughter to save her life during the attack. These weren't just politicians, they were parents, community leaders, people trying to make the world better. And someone wanted them dead. The attack. Now, here's where this gets absolutely terrifying. At 2 a.m. on June 14, 2025, what looked like a police officer showed up at Senator Hoffman's house in Champlin, Minnesota. Emergency lights flashing, full uniform, badge, the works. But it wasn't a real cop, and here's the most chilling detail. He was wearing a realistic latex mask to completely disguise his identity. The fake officer shot the senator and his wife multiple times. Somehow they survived. Then, 90 minutes later, the same killer drove his fake police car to House Speaker Melissa Hortman's home 9 miles away. When real police arrived to check on her, they saw what they thought was a fellow officer coming out of the house. But when they got closer, this fake cop immediately opened fire on them. After a gunfight, the killer escaped on foot, leaving behind Melissa and Mark Hortman dead in their own home. But here's the most chilling part. When police searched his fake squad car, they found something that will give you nightmares. The hit list. Inside that car was a manifesto with a hit list of 70 names, 70 people this killer wanted dead. The list included Governor Tim Walz, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Senator Amy Klobuchar, abortion providers, and activists. This wasn't a random attack. This was a planned assassination campaign against Democrats and anyone who supports women's reproductive rights. The FBI immediately put everyone on that list under armed protection. Can you imagine getting a call that you're on a killer's hit list? The killer. So who is this monster? Meet Vance Luther Bolter, 57 years old, and this is where the story gets even more twisted. Bolter owned a security company called Praetorian Guard Security Services. His company literally advertised having police-type vehicles and military training. He knew exactly how to impersonate law enforcement because it was his business. He's an evangelical Christian who traveled to Africa for missionary work, but also a hardcore conservative who was obsessed with stopping abortion rights. Here's the crazy part. He actually knew one of his victims. Bolter served on a state workforce development board with Senator Hoffman. They had worked together. The morning of the attacks, he texted his roommate, "I love you guys. I made some choices. I'm going to be gone for a while, may be dead shortly." His friend said Bolter had been struggling financially and seemed desperate. The manhunt. What happened next was one of the biggest manhunts in recent Minnesota history. The FBI launched a massive search operation. They offered a $50,000 reward. Border Patrol agents watched for him in case he tried to flee to Canada. For 73 hours, Lance Bolter was on the run. He was considered armed and extremely dangerous with survival gear, military training, and nothing left to lose. Police warned everyone. If you see someone claiming to be a police officer, especially alone, call 911 to verify. This killer had proven that a uniform and badge mean nothing if the person wearing them is evil. But then came the breakthrough that ended it all. The capture. After 43 hours of terror, it was a police sergeant's intuition and one crucial mistake that brought Bolter down. A neighbor noticed something suspicious and called it in. When officers arrived, they found Bolter hiding. The man who had terrorized an entire state, who had a list of 70 people he wanted to kill, was finally captured. He was immediately charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder and attempted murder. The nightmare was over, but the damage was already done. 2 innocent people were dead, families were destroyed, and 70 people had lived in fear knowing someone wanted them dead simply for their political beliefs. Why this matters. This isn't just a Minnesota story. This is about the future of American democracy. We are seeing political violence escalate to levels we haven't seen since the Civil War. When people start assassinating elected officials in their homes, democracy itself is under attack. Melissa Hortman spent her life serving others. She taught Sunday school, helped kids get free lunch at school, and fought for women's rights, and someone killed her for it. This could happen anywhere, to any politician who stands up for what they believe in. Question is, what kind of country do you want to be? If this story shocked you as much as it shocked me, I need you to do 3 things right now. First, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Stories like this are breaking every day, and the mainstream media isn't giving you the full picture. Second, share this video. People need to know what's happening in our democracy. Your share could literally save lives by keeping people informed. Third, comment below and tell me, how do we stop political violence before it destroys our country? I read every single comment. And if you want to stay ahead of breaking news like this, check out my other videos where I break down the stories the media won't tell you. Stay safe out there. And remember, the truth matters now more than ever.